Hey friends, welcome back to the Multipurpose Mom podcast. Here we talk about everything life, faith, marriage, parenting, entrepreneurship, and all of the chaos in between. So grab your coffee, even if it's reheated, and let's jump right on into talking with me. I don't have a guest today, so I am just going to ramble for the next 20 minutes or so, and I really do hope you'll hang out with me. I really struggled with what I was going to talk about today, and I really think that I'm going to fix my timer. I've decided I'm going to save up to get a bigger one. I realize the last few episodes that I've had have been well over the 20-minute threshold that I am aiming for, and I think I would even be okay if it was like up to 25 minutes, but the last few episodes have been 25 minutes, 27 minutes, and it's really hard to reel it in when I'm engaged in a really great conversation with a guest, but I'm learning with each episode what to structure differently, what to do differently. And so if you're here from the beginning and you're just still sticking it out, I just want to say thank you. And I didn't necessarily have a huge plan for what I was going to talk about today, mostly because I'm going to adjust my microphone for a second here. Mostly because I actually have a speaking engagement this weekend, and I'm still pretty new to the public speaking adventure, I guess you could say. And so I've really been trying to focus on how I'm going to structure what I'm saying there while I fill up 20 minutes of speaking to a live audience about my testimony and about the pro-life movement. And so I'm really, really excited about this, but also a little bit nervous. I really want to do well, and that's why I'm nervous, not because I'm nervous to stand up and speak. There is a level of nerves. I'm not coming out with this confidence of I can do this, but I have this humility of knowing that I truly believe this is what the Lord has called me to do, and I'm trying to trust that if I speak for him, he will speak through me. And so that's really the stance. I literally just prayed that prayer right before I started recording today, because I think that's the stance that I want to have on every platform, whether it's a podcast or a live audience or what it is, that Lord, if I speak for you, I ask that you would speak through me. And I believe that he's given me that word in the past. So with that, I didn't really plan a whole lot to talk about today. I was really kind of holding out that I would have a guest. When I originally, in the planning stages of the podcast, I have a mental list. We're going to talk about lists today. I have a mental list and a list in my phone of all the different people that I think would be great guests for my podcast. And it's really probably everybody I know, because there literally can't be a bad guest. We talk about everything here, and so I think anybody would make a great guest, and maybe that's what I'm not portraying well enough. So my initial plan was to reach out to them and say, hey, would you like to be a guest? I'm going to move this over here so I can see it. And I just haven't. The day before I launched the podcast, I really felt like the Lord was saying, don't ask people yet. Just post an application. I threw one together for somebody that doesn't throw things together digitally very well. It actually went together really well. And I just threw it together and I said, if you would like to be a podcast host, please reach out. And honestly, it was two of the three people I knew Tracy would be. We've talked about that for a long time, so I knew she would be a guest. Actually, we'll be having her on again very soon. But two of the other two, Brianna and Trey, I don't know that I would have reached out to them. Trey actually drove probably 45 minutes to get here. One of my requirements is an in-person guest. I just love the genuine organic connection that happens in an in-person setting, but also I don't have the capacity to dial somebody in wirelessly and have them there. I really want in-person, and I know that probably limits me some, but I just really feel like that's the standard that the Lord has set for me, and I want to keep it. Where was my brain going? So I just have not had any more applications since then. And I don't post a ton on my social media about it. Occasionally, I think I kind of low-key roll it into a bunch of other things that I'm trying to navigate or like post about. So I'll post, oh, I got a farm stand, and I'm like, I had a podcast this week. Oh, also I'm asking for guests. And so people probably aren't reading that far when I'm listing like 17 things that I'm doing. And so I'm not sure if it's time for me to start prayerfully reaching out to people to become guests on the podcast. I don't necessarily think it's hard for me to sit here and talk to what feels like myself in the moment. Clearly, I know that I'm talking to an audience, but in the moment, it definitely feels like I'm talking to myself because there's nobody here to interact with. Even when I did like Facebook Lives for a year and a half, there was nobody, there was an occasional comment in the comment sections, but like it wasn't like an on-running conversation that I was having. So I think I don't want to do these all myself. I really enjoy having guests. And so I don't know. I've probably rambled on about guests for too long. So I didn't really have a solid thing to put together. And originally I thought, well, I have 700 ideas in my head that I could talk about, but I probably shouldn't get on here and talk about all 700, or I'll just be labeling the episode Squirrel. Because if you know me in real life, that's just kind of how my brain works on most days. The truth is, I feel like I've been in a season of feeling somewhat overwhelmed, finding myself getting overstimulated more easily after last week, and it's like nothing is bad, right? Yeah, last week was a phenomenal week. I don't think you can see it. You can't see it in the episode, but I went through a leadership program. It's a nationally renowned program, I believe, that a lot of chambers put on, but it's Leadership Monroe. It was a 9-month program. We had like a kickoff weekend where like everybody went for the whole weekend. We did like leadership training, team building, things through Sam Sykes, who's like globally recognized for his leadership training. And then we met every month, one day every month, and talked about different things or learned about different things within our community. So like local government or downtown development. We did healthcare day or like quality of life day, like just all these different amazing things. And each time, we did like the DISC assessment to learn what kind of personality we were, all of these. And then last week was graduation, and it was incredible. Just a lot going on, just everything every day, right? Like it's a lot of stuff. And I just felt like I was feeling really overwhelmed and really overstimulated at the end of it all. And even going into this next week, like I have to work, and it's like the last day of our co-op, and I'm preparing for this speech, and I'm trying to like put myself together. And I'm just going to be really transparent. Like this is my first speaking engagement in a really long time. Like I used to speak on behalf of a crisis pregnancy center I worked 4 years ago, or volunteered with. I didn't work for them, but this is my first official speaking engagement since walking in obedience and putting myself out there as a public speaker. And I'm using like quotations if you're not watching on YouTube. And so I really want to present myself as somebody who's like got her life together in a way. So, I designed like a marketing board and like some rack cards for people to take. And I really felt like led to create a shirt, and I'm just trying to get all this done last minute. And I really feel like I need a vacation, but not like a vacation that's going to cost money, because that would add more stress to my life. Then I was thinking the other day, like I really desire, like deep down, I really do desire for like a slower life. And I think that time is still coming. It's being prepared for me as I walk out this obedience. I do think that there will be slower aspects in my life that are capable to be had. I don't know if I worded that correctly, but I also like sitting at the graduation dinner. It was at the Golf and Country Club. They're like elected officials there, kind of a fancy not formal dinner, but it's like a nice upper class, I guess. And I don't want to say that in a way that I like want to be like those people. Well, here's the hard part about not editing, because I really didn't mean for that to. As soon as I said it, I knew that's not what I wanted to say. It has nothing to do with the class of people, because clearly we're a mix. I am not upper class. I don't even think I'm middle class. And there were a lot of people there in the same categories. We're just all people striving to make better of our lives and go through programs. What I was actually trying to say, and I just probably stuck my foot in my mouth trying to say it all. I really desire the slower lifestyle, but I also really enjoyed being in that space. I really enjoyed being in that atmosphere, celebrating the leadership, getting up and sharing just a small bit of what leadership meant to me for the last year. And I actually reflected on that while I was sitting there. I was like, man, how is it that I desire such a slow, simple life, yet I feel like I'm really thriving being in this space right now? And I do think there's room for both. There's space for both. I really feel that. And so maybe the Lord is just preparing my heart for what it wasn't even about the culture there. I think it's just being in those like event type things. So like a speaking event would really create the same thing for me, as I really enjoy being at those, but then I just want to like come home and decompress. And probably what has happened the last couple of weeks is I haven't really been able to give myself enough time to decompress like I normally would. Even our Sundays, which are normally very much a slow day, like I want to say I take the Sabbath seriously, but I know there are people out there that take it much more seriously than I do. But I don't take the Sabbath lightly. I feel like the Lord has commanded us for that for a reason. I believe in slow seasons for a reason. I believe that the seasons change in the weather. Like there's a reason we have less daylight in the winter and we sleep more, like we're resting for a new season. And I feel like our Sundays, even like Matthias has football in the mornings, and then we're rushing to church just to get in the last 30 minutes. But then we've had this marriage and relationship class in the evenings. And so like it's really eating up my Sundays, and I'm not getting any time. And honestly, as I'm verbally processing this right now out loud with you, it just came to that realization. I never put it to the Sundays until just now. And even it was about a week or two ago, I mentioned how I just posted a quick reel of me, like, just so you know, this is what it feels like to live in my brain. Like I completely forgot something. I already don't remember what it is I forgot. And so many people were like, you need to make lists like that. Lists are so helpful. Y'all, I actually meant to go back and respond to those people. I'm really also not so great at that. I have so many lists. I have lists for my lists. I make so many lists that I never know where the list is. Like that's part of the problem. Like I'm like, oh, I need to make a list. And then I can't find the list. And then I make another list. And then like, it just doesn't stop. And I keep trying to like default and like create it in my phone. Like because I pretty much always have my phone with me. And I do have one in there, like a to-do list. It's just almost like a dump list. If I'm thinking of things, I try to put it in there. But I haven't really developed that habit well enough. And so I forget that I have that list. And so I don't go to it when I have a minute to do something. Or I'm making another list and then I'm working off that list until I can't find it. So I have lists. I just don't have them executed very well. So I come into the studio today, come into the office. I'm bumping things. I know that's really loud in the microphone. I'm sorry. And I have this perpetual calendar that sits on the shelf. It's usually behind me. I moved it to this table so that we could read it together. I'm obviously not here every day, so I only switch it on podcast day when I'm here so that if somebody were to see it, it would be reflective. I don't know. It's silly because it sits behind me. So even in the video, you're not seeing it. But for today, I am a sucker for perpetual calendars. I love them. I have one here. I have one at home. I think I have two at home, actually. I rarely remember to flip them, but I just love them. And I didn't do it this year, but for a couple of years in a row, I just posted like, hey, does anybody else have a perpetual calendar? Do you want to swap? Because like, I probably do get something new out of it every time because I don't flip it every day, but it's nice to recycle and like switch it up and get a new one. Today, I felt like, and I flipped it right before I sat down to record, and I was like, oh, wow, that was really good, Lord. Like, I know this was already pre-written, but I don't think that it's not preordained for God. Like, God knew I needed to read this today. It said, ask God specifically, do you want me to be completely still? If not, then it's okay to start taking steps as long as you keep an open heart and open hands along the way. And I was like, wow, that's really cool. I do feel like that's what the Lord, I do feel like I pray something very similarly often, like, Lord, order my steps. Is this something you want me to do? You know, people always tell me to slow down. Somebody just yesterday was like, you know, you do so much and you do it like you're doing so great. And I thought, man, I work really hard to be very transparent on social media about the fact that I don't have it all together and I don't think I'm doing everything well. It's almost like that saying, jack of all trades, master of none. I'm not really a jack of all trades, but I feel like I'm like always doing so much that I haven't really mastered any of it. And I don't know what to take away. I don't know what to like remove from my life so that I can focus on doing other things better. When I sit down logically and I think about what I'm doing, I don't feel like it's that much. But yet the days come and go and I'm like, wow, you know, there's just not. And I won't say that I'm never guilty of scrolling too much on my phone. We'd all be lying if we said we weren't. Well, I mean, maybe some people. I do spend time on social media as a content creator. I spend time posting, but I also spend time engaging, but I genuinely don't think it's like, I don't feel the conviction that it's sucking my time. Some days, yes, but as a whole, like for the majority of it, I don't feel like. I'm pretty good usually about sitting down, like even in the mornings or even like just a little while ago, one of my friends, I rent 2 of the rooms here at my studio to some friends of mine, and she came in and I was sitting on the couch just kind of doom scrolling for like 10 minutes. I was like, I just needed to decompress for a minute. And that's the nice thing is it's almost like an escape, right? When you get on there and you're not doing anything. Let me get situated here. For the most part, collectively, I'm pretty good about like just sitting down and saying, okay, I'm going to scroll for 10 minutes and then I'm going to be done. Or I'm going to scroll for 20 minutes and then I'm going to be done. And I'm usually pretty good about that. I know a lot of people are like, oh, I'll sit down and watch one reel and 20 minutes or 2 hours later, I'm like, what? And I'm not, my brain doesn't allow me to do that, I don't think. And I'm very grateful for that. But I feel like I'm sharing all of this verbal dumping because I want you to know, like, if you're feeling very chaotic in your life, you're not alone. I am trying to like put one step in front of the other, one foot in front of the other, and create rhythms that work for us. Sometimes that's easier said than done when you work with your husband who is incredibly ADHD. Like, I joke that I'm ADHD. Well, it's not really a joke. I genuinely believe I'm undiagnosed. But my husband is like ADHD on steroids. So it can be incredibly hard when sometimes him and I can sit down and we're like, this is going to be our plan. This is what we're going to do. And I 1000% believe he has the absolute greatest intentions and he really wants to do this next best thing as well. But then the next day happens and he like gets hyper fixated on something and he's got like blinders on and he can't see anything else that we've talked about. And he just wants to do this one thing that wasn't on the radar. And it's almost maddening for me because while I do think that I suffer from some ADHD, I know it presents differently in women than it does men. And I'm not going to go down that whole rabbit trail because that's really not my expertise. But I think I work better with putting in systems. Like, I want to create those systems to help me work better. And while he genuinely wants to, he has a hard time like committing to that system. So I don't know what really works better when you're working alongside somebody. I think I work better. I even told somebody this morning, I was like, it's almost harder not having a guest today because now I'm like not bound by any schedule, right? If I had a guest, I would have had them scheduled at a time in the morning and I would have needed to be here at that time. But instead, this morning I slept in. I don't normally do that. I probably would have been fine to sleep in from 5 to 6, except after 6 o'clock, I hit snooze and I hit snooze and I hit snooze. And then it was 7:20 before I got up. That is late for me. I've wasted half of my morning, really. And there's a whole scientific thing about the snooze button, how it's actually really bad for you. I don't even sleep with my phone in my room for that reason. I have like a Hatch alarm clock. It's across the room, so I have to like get out of bed, go shut it off, and then I just keep going. But today, I kept going, walked out into the kitchen, grabbed my phone, set the alarm for 6, and went back to bed. So you win some and you lose some. I really just wanted to share all of kind of the chaos that's going on inside my brain because I want you to know that you're not alone. And maybe in the coming weeks, if I don't get a guest, I don't anticipate I'll have a guest for next week because it's the holiday week. I record on Mondays and next Monday is a holiday. And I don't have plans, so I will be here to record. So my commitment this week, if you've made it this far, I'm gonna wrap up, but I'm gonna work on putting together some solid ideas on how I can help myself and possibly help some of my listeners to kind of reel in that chaos and walk out a little bit more of a positive rhythm and make sure that we're really walking towards the purpose that's called on our life right now. It may change, but we want to walk in our purpose and we want to walk in it well. So with that said, I just want to say thank you for being here. Thank you so much for being here today, all the days that you are. And I just want to remind you that you're created on purpose for purpose. Thank you so much.